Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, danger, danger. Here we are, decarlosdanger.com, with another special broadcast regarding the city of Sierra Vista's budget meeting that was held on the 11th of June, I believe at 1700 in the afternoon, 5 p.m. local time. Moving on. We're going to interrupt the scheduled broadcast of the page-by-page interpretation of the budget to taking advantage of the video that was produced today by the city of the meeting that happened. I watched it. Didn't watch it live. I watched it in delay. And I will tell you this. I didn't push pause until an hour in. So I probably missed a couple things here and there. It was about buying equipment. It just blah, blah, blah. We're going to buy this, that, the other. Keep everybody cutting edge technology stuff. Okay. I figure that's going to get parsed through the next couple days. But then again, this meeting was scheduled to take up to 3 days. And this part of the presentation anyway. And it was done in one. And oddly enough, the city manager and the mayor both had somewhere to be. So even if folks wanted to stay and work on it later, the manager and mayor would not be there. Odd. During budget season and an election year. But that's just my interpretation of how I see things based upon my experience as A, a submariner, B, a chief in the Navy, and C, an instructor in the Army, and then D, an instructor in the Army that with over-the-shoulder training and mentoring and intelligence analysis of information to produce intelligence at the ground truth level to show the young folks how it works, and actually they have to talk to their neighbors in order to save their own butt because nobody takes a crap where they eat. So, back to interrupting the program here. If I can remind you from the previous video, you have decarlosdanger Danger in it, Michael and Paul Harvey, good day. Hunter S. Thompson, Gonzo style journalism, and a humorist named Louis Grizzard, excellent author. Just came across his book at a used bookstore in Tucson, a few weeks ago when I went up to the VA, and it was entitled "Don't Sit Under the Grits Tree with Anyone Else But Me." I also am a fan of one of his other novellas, "Don't Bend Over in the Garden, Granny. Don't you know those taters got eyes?" And with that forewarning, we're going to move on to page 1. Welcome one and all to this 1 hour and 31 minute unofficial minute taking of Sierra Vista, Arizona, June 11th, 2018 budget work session. I am decarlosdanger, and I am here with my truth seeking sidekicks. Michael, hello. Paul, Mr. Harvey, what up, buddy? Mr. Hunter S. Thompson, there you go. Hey, buddy, right? And Mr. Grizzard, thanks for joining us this evening. And we are going to have a conversation, more or less, about what's actually going on in front of us. And hopefully condense this down so that we can save you, the taxpayer, some time. And at least out of an hour and a half, maybe we get this down to a half an hour for you. And I'm going to be, hopefully, in a clear, concise way and honest. And also, before I start, let me remind you, this Sierra Vista, Arizona is right outside of Fort Huachuca in Arizona. It's a military town. It is part of the military-industrial complex to the core. Benefits from it, and the economy lags when we're not at war. Our economy now is lagging. It's fine, just the way it is. You make your bed, you lie in it. However, the local government's attempting to grow to maintain services as a claim, when a lot of the very missions that are accomplished down the road, just based upon its pure nature, have the opportunity of being reduced when President Trump is successful in negotiating getting the clowns out of the Koreas and letting that be one nation, and thereby it will reduce the amount of military required to manage the peace, so to say. I mean, unless you've been there, you wouldn't understand. I mean, there's police and soldiers standing in the corners with M16s and crap. It's an odd place to be, but it's really, the people are really nice. Sake's okay, not sake, the soju's okay, and I got to tell you, first time ever I ever had a chicken's foot. But then again, after a bottle of soju, you just might about eat anything. I think I made them warm it up though too. They were giving that stuff away cold. But back to our scheduled broadcast. Welcome one and all to this 1 hour and 31 minute presentation of the City of Sierra Vista work session. I am decarlosdanger, and here with my truth-seeking sidekicks, Michael, Paul, Hunter S. Thompson over there, thank you, sir, and Mr. Lewis Grizzard across from me. Thank you very much for joining us, the other gentlemen. Hopefully you can bring a breath of fresh air amongst some of the stale ideas that are likely to be presented this budget season. Let's listen in, shall we? Knock, knock. Hear ye, hear ye. Let's get the show on the road. Holy moly. Mr. Blanchard, can say something other than, I have nothing. Way to go. Mr. Hunter S., way to point that out. All right, there we have attached. Right there we've attached the video that is on YouTube that the city provided. And we're going to go from this point forward on the notes that I took while listening and watching to the presentation. The mayor calls to order. Budget work sessions. Folks present. Proceed. The manager speaks, Mr. Patuchek. He introduces the assistant to present his dream. These 3 days planned, but won't be needed. There's 3 days planned, but won't be needed. Hour and a half each allowed. Mayor has plans. We can see where we rate during the budget season. Mr. Patuchek says, rah, rah, good job, team. Balanced budget, no more tax increases. Okay. Miss Yarborough speaketh. She does actually an outstanding job of this presentation, wouldn't you say, Hunter? What's that? Right. Even for a member of the government, she actually performed a pretty good task today. Right on. And, right, Mr. Lewis, I can't say that. You're the one that has the cleanest jokes of them all. She speaketh. There's a few agenda changes that were made. They're on there. Here's a summary of what changed. We're talking about revenue, debt, operations and maintenance, personnel cost, and capital projects. Changes of date. The trash was built into the budget. Go back last month and listen, if you can, to the broadcasts, or read the minutes. That trash was actually already added into the budget to make put the council in a position that if they didn't approve it, then the budget wouldn't be balanced and we'd be stuck with trash. So they got put in a pretty bad spot. But it is what it is. We see here, and look out, Frytown, they got another $92,000 to come knock on your door, to fund knocking on your doors to say, please join the city. And you'll say, go pack sand. Respectively so. Going on up by $1 million. That's what the budget's going to do. The revenues are up, but commerce is down. That doesn't add up. The LTAF, the Lafty, there's a Lafty moment. It's something to do with the light transit, Vista transit stuff. The fuel depot is no longer part of the transit system grants. So they've built it, they've sucked the value out of it, and now we're at the burden for taking care of it. Hope they're above ground and not below. That way we don't have to go digging around for when they start leaking. But the true question is where did the burden for running the fuel depot and all of that burden get shifted to? It's not quite clear. I didn't hear that at all, nor did anybody ask. The mayor explains the government bucket lists of the state. It's pretty lengthy. He's actually got this stuff down pretty well. But then again, he has been in local government since early 2000s, if not earlier. So he's been around a long time as a council member, and then I think this is this will be his second term or third term as mayor. I'm not really sure. Mr. Hester was a mayor beforehand. Ms. Calhoun brings up two great valid points. One about grants and the other about gambling on education, so to say. She was talking about the lottery funds that the city expects to get, or the education system expects to get, but they never do from the lottery, and how that's supposed to be parceled out. And we always just end up short. Page 2. Moving on. Airport. If you remember, if you can recall, if you look up in the paper, you can see that there was a recent $750,000 federal grant made to the airport, and that is what makes the airport profitable. So they're celebrating the airport profitability. Well, if people are just giving you money to put in your pocket, and you don't have to, and you're spending it on stuff to make it prettier, but you still got some left that somebody gave you, does that make you any richer? If you already had your hand out saying, "Please give me" in the beginning, it is what it is. The airport, though, as much as it is an asset, there's a tremendous amount of possibility out there. It seems to be a comedy of errors along the border. They're claiming that they were profitable because of the fuel cost and the fuel that they were able to pump out there, and now they're moving dirt to get rid of a hill so that they could maybe build something out there, make it suitable for building out somewhere out there. And the only thing that was, if you listen to the brief from the airport commission, the only thing they really requested, there was a lot of nice things, a lot of nice things, but the only real requirements were the corners of the taxiways needed to be cement instead of cheap asphalt, because the tires dig in, and when the sunlight out here and dig in, they just dig holes and ruts in it, and it destroys it rather quickly. Which is why, if you notice, if you've ever flown, most of the taxiways and stuff are concrete, so it doesn't break. Mr. Tuchek Chuck chimes in with, we have created a viable project. Free fill dirt when the military planes aren't flying, I guess. Something about that. And maybe we could, and my thought was, immediately was perhaps we could donate it to the landfill. Just saying. We just raise the refuse rates after all. They found an AWAS somewhere out there, which is a weather reporting system for planes, which is great. It's they could reduce the burden on something the city was planning on buying. Mr. Mount demands a sign that there is money for the airport by putting a new sign out there. The rest of the slide was covered rather quickly. Most of these slides really were. It's not that Ms. Yarborough did a poor job in her effort to explain them. She was very well prepared and did an outstanding job. It's just I think perhaps maybe she was ready for more questions than were provided. But, it is what it is. And there's 2 more days for this stuff that are scheduled. So maybe it's our turn to do stuff like this, or email our council members, I already have, and take an opportunity to say, hey, perhaps maybe you should look at it this way. We're not out. We understand these are good people. They have good jobs. They have jobs. They have families. They got to provide, but so do the rest of us. And somewhere in the line, when the population dwindles, there's got to be an opportunity to take measures to contain further growth in government, or placing the burden on the people. This is decarlosdanger. We're going to take a quick break. Back in a moment.